Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel where I review books that I definitely have read. Today's entry is a fantasy book, Gardens of the Moon, by Steven Erikson. So this is a really interesting book, and it's pretty famous in the fantasy community for being a notoriously difficult read. I, however, was able to breeze right through it. It's a really heartwarming story about the relationship between Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, how the two of them went to the moon, and how that was a life changing experience, but then they came back and the world was not the same anymore for them as people and for them as friends. So, how do they combat that? Well, simple. They decide, let's get really into growing plants. So, they start a community garden. And it's just this really heartwarming story of friendship and gardening and just the idea of legacy. I was actually confused that a lot of people thought this was a fantasy book and that they thought it was so complicated because, again, it's a very simple story. I suppose you could say it's a fantasy in that this didn't really happen. It's not like a memoir, it's not nonfiction, but I guess all fiction is fantasy if you look at it like that. Well, anyway, overall, just a really, really solid book. Super easy read. You can knock it out in, 2, 3 days maybe. Again, it could have been a little bit more complex for me. I do like more of that complexity, but overall, a really nice read. I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5 stars.